about objectives and outcomes and players. So let's take a little time to analyze a game or two. We're going to split up into groups and just say, this is our game that we looked at. We're going to try to put it into these 8 different categories. What are the players? What are the objective? What's the procedures? Stuff like that. Okay, so fire up your laptops. Head to, this is one site that I found. Head to webpacman.com. Avoid the ads. Avoid all the ads on the website. And you will find free versions of Pac-Man, Frogger, Snake, Space Invaders, the classic games that I hope everybody's familiar with. But if you're not, here's your chance to play Pac-Man in class. So, group up with the people next to you in your row and pick one of these games. We'll take about 3 minutes, 5 minutes, play the game, analyze it according to these 8 categories. Yes. Webpacman.com. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Join up with Hunter.
How do you move your...
Click on it. You're the red dots. So click on the red dots. And then
I can just like... Wait, what? Oh, come on, I did not.
sometimes they multiply and sometimes they don't.
Well, no, if you go one space, it multiplies.
If you go to the green spaces, you multiply.
Simon
Oh
says.
no. Oh no.
This is
A player is
I don't
one
like this.
person or multiple because
Heidegger. Kissing.
You can zap them though.
I'll write that one.
Wait, you jumped
Two and zap me.
No, the computer can definitely move further than you can.
No, you can move that far too.
Quiet.
I spoiled it. Oops.
I don't know how you're like remembering this while we're talking.
Right, the
This is not
procedures
going well.
are and if it's wrong, stop.
Oh no, I did it. I did it. Dennis score is 0.
Highest score is 10. Good job. Other things we have. Boundaries are well. It's just the circle. Clicking here does nothing.
Yeah.
The rules are
Why did you die?
and you have to do more. Oh, shut up.
This is what your keyboard reminds me of.
That's really cool. There's so much more that like.
I just have to
I mean, I can't do that.
I like it. Like it's like you click and like all these things.
You can do the regular.
Something you can change your password.
I'm playing tap dance. Yes, sir.
You
Can't lose. So.
we put Simon on that list, or were we not supposed to put Simon?
No, I'll put it on the list. It's there.
I'm thinking of like other bridges that we might do this. It was doing so good.
Well, the conflict is against yourself. Like you might mess up. The conflict is trying to remember.
You hate yourself.
Yes.
I done.
Victory.
You're not gonna trick me.
I did.
My God.
33 to 20.
It's just like you slash
How often do you stream? Can we watch you like 8 p.m. Central every day?
No,
I'll subscribe.
you should. I'm trying to.
99. support your local professor.
I'm trying to stream our class. So you should be able to watch this class again
On Twitch.
on Twitch. That's the plan.
Twitch clears out their VODs every like month.
Yeah.
Every 15 days or 14 days, but I'll export them to YouTube and try to save them. But I'm just trying something new, learning things on Twitch, getting things ready. So we'll see if this works. I accidentally had it in the limbo category. It's now under game development. We'll see if they kick me off. Yeah.
This is limbo.
This is not limbo. This is not limbo at all. Not today. No.
Well, I mean, there's the Olympics again. There's limbo. And there's the tarot.
Okay. There's
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why did you beat me?
16.
Yes, we should do it.
Okay. Let's regroup and try to analyze these games. At least one or two of them, just to walk through. Some people played Pac-Man. What were the players of Pac-Man? It's a single-player game. I don't know why I can't see things. Aha, here we go. Okay, single-player Pac-Man. What was the objective? So, eat dots, 4 points, get to level 3. Okay. What were the procedures? How did you try to achieve that objective?
Change directions using key arrows.
Change directions. That's pretty much all you could do. And what were the rules?
Hit you and you haven't eaten a big.
You die if you get eaten, or you die if they catch you.
Die if touch ghosts. Only if you don't have dot power. Stuff like that. But that's sort of the difference between procedures or what you're trying to do. Rules give you those restrictions on what you're allowed to do within that game. Okay, what else did we want to talk about? What were the resources?
Dot power.
Dots. Fruit. Power dots. Those are the ways that we could affect and change our outcome. The score is something that changed in the game. What kind of conflict was there? Pac-Man versus the ghosts. Exactly. Boundaries. The walls. Right. The maze walls. And then one other thing, the outcome. What are possible outcomes?
You die.
You could die.
Or you keep playing. I think you can break the game.
Yeah, I think there's a one where you can't break them against.
You can get the maximum score.
I think just lose.
Pretty much you die. And
Well, there's a level that
the outcome is trying to get the highest score for the goal. And then it depends. Sometimes in Pac-Man there is a way, depending on how they program it, to actually win the game. It depends. So this is a game that doesn't really have a fixed winning, losing kind of idea. You definitely lose, but you play until you get as most points as possible. It's a survival game. Okay, let's do one more of these. What about Simon? Players. Everybody saw the game Simon? Knows at least a little bit about it. If you haven't, click on it just to see what it was. You played Simon.
It's single player, but you could trade off.
Possibly multiple players. Great. What is the objective?
Simon.
Again, survive. Yep. Oh, match. Match the pattern. What kind of procedures are there?
You can click buttons.
Click the buttons. Yes. And then rules.
Mimic Simon.
What?
Mimic Simon.
Mimic Simon. You have to follow the pattern. Exactly. Okay. What kind of resources are there in the game? Buttons. Time. Can you think of time being a resource in Simon? Because you spend it by trying to remember the pattern. You have to do the pattern. You can't just sit there for 5 minutes. You can't write down the pattern as you go and then type it back in. It's a speed game. So it's a resource that gets spent by you. What else? And Simon, conflict. Person versus Simon. Boundaries.
The circle where the buttons are.
Yes, the circle cannot be broken. And the outcome. Yep.
There is no winning.
But there is a distinguishing. You could be better than somebody else at Simon because of the number of, or the length of the pattern. Okay, does that make sense? That's the Simon stuff. That's the Pac-Man stuff. We could go through the other games, but I think you're starting to see the pattern of taking a game, using those 8 categories to learn what is that game, what is this doing as a game. Because those are the things that we can sit down and start to program. We can start to come up with resources and program in the rules and the procedures and start to think about the conflict, how things are resolved, what kind of outcomes do we want in the game. That gets closer to how we want to be approaching games in this class. Okay, so we will be learning a system called Unity. This